Research Fellow at the Institute of National Security Studies and Policy. Middle East Bureau Chief at the Russia Today TV. And let's try to understand what are the interests that stand behind this game.
Well, if I can kick off, I mean, I think for Putin, it very much is a personal pet project. It's a chance for him to put Russia on the map. You also had the last Olympics that were held in Moscow in 1980, and you had something like more than 60 countries boycotting that because of the invasion of a daily security. So obviously he'll want this to be a very safe Olympic, and that will be something that will extend beyond just the Olympic Games in the idea that Russia is safe. Also a way of marketing Sochi, a potential tourist site. I mean, the largest amount of money in Olympic history has been spent on these Olympic Games. Also the largest security operation ever. So he's invested a lot in these games.
I completely agree to that. Just to bring a bit of background figures, Sochi is situated 300 kilometers away from Chechnya and 400 kilometers away from Dagestan. And Dagestan, as we all know, suffers daily outbreaks of violence. And the last 3 deadly bombings were in Volgograd, which is also not far from Sochi. So they had to address all this security. And on the top of all this, also some delegations received these threats of attacks. The delegations from Italy, Hungary, some other, Britain, Germany, received letters, and all this had to be addressed by Putin and his security forces. Just to give you some figures, these games are the most expensive games in the history. $51 billion spent on also on security arrangements, and the security arrangements are, I would say, layered in 3 different areas: the low-tech, the high-tech, and the international cooperation. Within the low-tech, just to give you some context, 100,000 people law enforcement agents are going to be deployed in Sochi, and it's 4 times more than they were deployed in London during the London Olympics. Sochi is a very small city. It's about 300,000 people. So if you go to Sochi these days, every 4th person, including the babies, would be the law enforcement agent. Yeah, I completely agree to that, and especially this is the internal sense that you would receive from Russians. On the other hand, if you look at the public opinion polls of Levada Center, recent polls, only 50% of Russians are supporting the games, and they actually believe that Putin did the right thing when he offered to host the Olympics. So I would say that I would take it one step further and suggest that this is going to be the test for Putin more domestically than internationally, because internationally the community is ready to understand and to receive the perception that we are not safe, 100% safe in any place in the world. But domestically, this is a test for Putin's power and for the system that he built.
The exact thing that I want to touch. Why does he need to show his power out? Why is it a demonstration, this demonstration of power? Why?
He's an elected leader. He still needs popular support to be in power. He's not there. He's not an authoritarian leader as we, again, this is a sense internally, internationally more than it is domestically. So he's very concerned about his
I agree with that. I think if these games were happening in the United States, you would also have America trying to show itself as being able to host such games. London, the last time it hosted the games, very much Olympic Games are going to be a PR effort for any kind of country. So in that respect, of course he wants to present Russia in a very, very positive light, and what better opportunity to do it? Very, very positive light.
And these Olympic Games
things that Russia were in the headlines for a long time.
They will definitely talk about the bad things because this is the nature of the international community, especially when we deal with Russia. But if everything goes fine as planned with the games, then this event, as Paul already mentioned, is going to be a point of consolidation for Russia's national identity, because the economy is doing relatively okay compared to other post-Soviet countries, but the national identity is relatively in crisis, and Putin needs this positive event to consolidate the society around it. And these Olympic Games is a perfect match for this.
And is he going to be able to keep this game safe?
As I already mentioned, there's no place in the world that is 100% safe. But if we look into the investment that he put into this, these are going to be the most secured games in history, and the whole region is sealed. It's sealed internally and externally. There are different kinds of zones, the control zones that you cannot enter. All the Olympic facilities, if you want to enter them, you need to go through scanners and X-rays and all sorts of metal detectors before you can get in. And there are also zones that are forbidden. Also, you cannot enter with your vehicle to the city of Sochi, which is good. It's saved the local population from traffic jams. They are very happy with it about this. But seriously speaking, if the vehicle is not registered in the city of Sochi or it's not accredited with the Olympic Committee, it cannot enter. And then you have, again, on the border with Abkhazia and the border with Georgia are completely sealed. What else? As I said, there are army units deployed, and then the sea is also sealed, and they also use a very sophisticated space-based surveillance system, which allows them to monitor all phone calls and all internet connections.
It's amazing.
In the city.
You know, what
Everything.
you're saying, it's like getting into a closed place. It's like that people are saying that Israel is a city that all the time
it's
is
going to
worried
be
about
much
its
safer.
security.
But can I say that I'm sure the two of you saw it, there was an alert that came out today from the United States that they had some kind of information that there could be explosives smuggled in on planes in toothpaste tubes. Now, they're not giving any kind of indication why they've got that. Also, the UK said that they think that the possibility of a threat is highly likely. And the US has sent 2 warships to the Black Sea to help in case of an emergency. So, yes, we have this massive security operation, but you also have Sochi, which is very mountainous. You also have it, as you correctly said, very close to the northern Caucasus. It's also a mixed population, so it's not immediately easy to tell who's coming from where and what ethnicity they are. So there's quite a few problems that they're facing. And the other point is what we saw in Volgograd at the end of last year with suicide bombings there, and a lot of questions were asked at the end of last year whether or not that was linked to the Sochi Olympics. There are some analysts who think that maybe with all the security now focused in Sochi, this is the perfect opportunity for Chechen rebels to carry out an attack somewhere else that would also frighten people in Sochi and detract from the Olympic Games, but maybe another location might be less secure than your 40,000 security guards who are securing Sochi at the moment.
So your forecast after the Sochi Olympic Games, how Russia will look like?
How Russia will look like? Well, it depends. I
With all
hope.
these high expectations.
I
ahead.
hope for all of us that the Olympics will be a success for Russia and for all of us as spectators. I do not think that, if everything goes fine, then Putin will definitely use it as
He will do his best.
yeah, as a proof for his power.
I agree with that. I think at the end of the day, it's actually a sporting
About
event.
sports, yeah, more than.
And, that's the message. I think people who are going there really just want to have a good experience. I think the world wants to see some good sports come out of Sochi. I don't think it's really going to do anything in terms of major long-term changing of opinions of Russia. As much as Putin is using it as an opportunity to showcase Russia to the world, I'm not sure it's necessarily going to change the way the world in the long run perceives Russia.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day we can say let's focus on the games and not focus on the politics for once at least for these games. Ladies, thank you very much for coming to the studio.